It is appropriate because Mr. Hanky's the Christmas
Howdy
spook.
ho.
Yeah.
Howdy-ho!
Hey, everybody. What's up? Happy Tuesday. Happy Star Trek Tuesday. It's your favorite time of the week because it's time for the main viewer where we talk about all your favorite Star Trek and sci-fi news of the week. And boy, howdy, do we have some big ass news, okay? We're
Ass.
talking like such a big ass. It's like species 8472, okay? You
Booty
know how
too
that thing
big.
just like juts out? Still the best answer ever in the history of the Lappy Awards was when the question was, who would you not want to get stuck in an elevator with? And somebody typed in species 8472, booty too big. Because you'd be like, I can't, this
And
rump.
get around. And what if that species 8472 farted in the elevator?
We're live.
What if?
All right, so here it comes, everybody. Uh, we have some casting news for Strange New Worlds. The moment we've all been waiting for, sorry, for which we've all been waiting, is announced this morning. I believe our buddy John Orchiola was breaking this, or one of the people breaking this. Huge, gigantic, enormous, Strange New Worlds casting news. Also, we've got the five biggest news items of 2025. Have they already changed in the last 10 hours? We'll find out. We have some Starfleet Academy news to talk about. Robert Picardo's in the news. All kinds of Lego. Captain Archer's in the news, of course. We've got DeForest Kelly, and it's just too much good stuff. And we have an amazing guest from Screen Rant, the dude that runs Screen Rant World,
That is not
John
true.
Orchiola.
Hi, everybody. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas Eve to you guys in the U.S. It's Christmas Eve here in Manila. It's Christmas
The
Eve morning.
best is everybody message Eve England and say, Merry Christmas Eve, Eve, Eve.
Eve.
um, I
And
have to
Melissa
say,
Longo's here.
hi. Before we move on and I lose it in the chat, Dr. Muhammad Noor says, hi, Dr. Muhammad Noor, by the way. And species 8472 may have fluidic farts.
Oh, good. Even better. You mean they just queef all the time? Is that their
Oh
Matt Boardman
yeah,
is
well,
also here. Top
we're
that,
starting off
Matt.
with that.
I don't know how I feel about being announced right after that.
A man who doesn't queef. Even
But hello, hello.
Oh my gosh, that's more times. Hi, Ryan. How are
Yeah.
you?
Hey, I'm Ryan. Also, no, that's funny, Muhammad. Yeah, it's probably fluidic. Very nice. Very, I mean, he's probably right. You know, it's definitely a thing. Okay. So everybody, please make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon for notifications if you're listening, and give us a 5-star rating and a nice review. But remember, don't base it on the first minute. Just what's no,
We
we
don't
must go
always talk
forward.
about fart.
We must go
Yeah,
forward,
we can cut
Or
everybody.
this,
big
right? We can
booties.
cut that whole intro.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll cut this out of the edit. Hello to Bob Duncan, Joshua Reeve, Linda Anderegg. I was thinking of calling her Lindiana Jones. That's kind of cool. Lucia
Ooh.
Raz, Richard's Final Frontier, Chuck A. Budlums, John Davis, Herbert Turner, Captain Caffeine, David Bourgeois, Brett Homer, Mohammed Noor,
Yes.
Dave Gregory, Sab Cobb DS. That's a fun one. And everybody else, thank you very much for hanging out with us. We see you in the live chat. Ninote, what's up, the Trek reviewer? All right, let's get up into this. There is so much to talk about today, if you can believe it. Let's get started with something fun. First and foremost, everybody, this is important. This poor machine has been working her ass off for you. So please be grateful and be courteous when you see it. I know.
Aww.
I know.
Wow.
She's like,
She's
she's
so
like, yeah,
tired. And
I've been
then there's
working double
another one.
shifts. I've been
There's
working.
another one in front of her.
Oh yeah.
It
Yeah.
looks like
And
That's amazing.
here's a good one too, just to get us started here. So it's Odo and Bareil having a gentlemanly conversation. And Odo says, I sleep in a bucket. Do you? And Bareil says, I sleep in a big bed with Nerys.
Oh man,
Mm,
shots
yeah,
fired.
that's a parody of that Simpsons joke with Homer Simpson and Milhouse's dad, Kirk Van Houten. After he got divorced, and he moved into his bachelor pad, and he slept in a race car bed.
oh.
That's right.
And he goes, I sleep in a race car bed. Do you? No, I sleep in a big bed with my wife.
Oh man, this is good stuff.
That's
Shout out to the Samsons. Okay, here's another one for you guys to enjoy.
Dun, 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 dun,
So
dun, dun.
Tom Paris says to the doctor, that hemorrhoid cream you gave me caused a bad reaction. And Picardo says, where did you apply it? And Tom Paris says, in the mess hall.
Ah,
oh.
You see, the reaction was because people had to see him doing it.
It was a mess in the mess
ew.
hall.
And this is just a quickie for everybody to enjoy. It's about phone booths. Remember those?
Oh
Phone booths
yes.
have changed a lot since I was a kid, it says.
So true.
It's so
Yeah.
true.
We probably spent a lot more time on the second phone booth than we ever did in the first. For those of us
Yeah.
old enough to
Ain't
use
that the
both.
truth? Ain't
Ring
that the
around the
truth?
collar used to be a thing, and
Yeah.
nowadays it's ring around the booty.
Everybody easy, settle. So this last one is this girl saying, meh, I bet he's thinking about other women. And this guy's saying, where exactly did Soong get Data's multiple techniques? That one's a thinker.
Because he's
Hmm.
fully functional.
Yeah. Okay, so that's a good start to the day, everybody, I think, right?
Yeah.
Everybody in the live chat, we were talking about Disneyland before we went live, and they were talking about my favorite ride.
Oh, yeah,
What do you
yeah.
guys think? Should I make it a poll? I think I said it should be a
You
poll.
should make it a poll.
Okay, I'll make it a poll while Matt tells us about what rides he enjoyed at Disneyland
Oh
in the
man.
last day or
Well,
two.
my favorite ride at Disneyland is Space Mountain.
Hmm.
So
Nice.
I don't know. I love the soundtrack with it. I may be guilty of listening to that song at home when I'm not on the ride.
Oh, wow.
Like that. Rise of the Resistance is a
Hmm.
fun ride there. Um, I actually do like the Guardians of the Galaxy ride.
Oh.
It's kind
That's
of
in a
fun.
California Adventure, right?
Yeah,
That's on
that's
Disney
over in
Park.
California
Yeah.
Adventure. I like the Radiator Springs ride, which is also over in California Adventure. That's a fun one. Let's see what else. I like the Indiana Jones ride. That's fun. Jungle Cruise is a classic.
Yeah.
Jungle Cruise is fun. When I went
So,
to Disneyland in March, which is actually the first time since I was a kid, and I spent the whole day there, I realized I'm
Ooh.
super lame. The thing I liked most was the Mark Twain riverboat, and I just liked like the old timey
Oh, interesting.
Frontierland and the New Orleans land. What I realized was I liked the stuff that was really personal to Walt Disney, like Walt Disney was a super nerd about American history, especially 18th
Yeah.
century, 19th century American history. So that's why those parks in Disneyland are there. And I realized that, walking through those parks were the most fun for me because like they felt the most personal to Walt. Like this is like the stuff this guy was really into. And I like that it's still there and it still kind of holds up, and his personality is kind of woven into that part of the park. Whereas like Star Wars Land and stuff, it's very corporate, I feel.
Yeah. Oh, I did go on Incredicoaster for the first time.
Yeah, so that one, the names, Space Mountain kind of changed to Star Wars, and then it switched back to Space Mountain, I think. Screaming Over California is now the Incredicoaster, but some of you remember it as that. Jungle Cruise is the Jungle Cruise, and Peter Pan is Peter Pan. What do you think of Incredicoaster, Matt? Do you
I
know
freaking
that
love
the
it.
person that does the voice for the lady, the mom in The
Helen Parr.
Incredibles, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
is
Captain Ake.
Captain Ake. Yeah, yeah. No, it's super fun. I love roller coasters where you go upside down. I don't know why, but I just think that's the coolest feeling is you're like doing doing that. Um I love that it shoots you off at the beginning there rather than that slow climb of terror as you're like waiting to get to the top of the hill before you fall, right? So that's super fun.
It's
I
a
like that it has a
foreplay.
story with it, because it's Jack got away and you're chasing after him, right? So that's fun too. But I love, and this is one of the reasons why I love the Space Mountain roller coaster too, is I love those tight high G turns that like
OMG.
I like those tight G's. Um, so that's
Oh my goodness, don't you
so-
know?
I did that
Okay.
solely for the Ryan face reaction.
Nobody saw my reaction. Just you
Oh
guys.
man, dang
Yeah,
it.
they think you guys are weirdos for laughing for no reason.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so let's not get too much suspense here. The answer, and also in the live chat, everybody let us know what is what is your favorite ride at Disneyland slash California Adventure, California Misadventure, and which is your least favorite or the one that you think is overrated or something like that? Okay, so 14% said Screaming Over California, which I think is actually called California Screamin', not Screamin'. And then there's a Soaring Over California. Anyway, 14% said that one. 19% said he gets all his jokes from the Jungle Cruise. 29% said, well, he basically is a child still, so probably Peter Pan. And 38% of them said, I want an excuse to hate him. He likes Star Wars. I
Aw.
know, I know. Can you believe they said that out loud? The answer, of course, is California Screamin' the Incredicoaster.
Nice.
It's the best.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's
I've
so
never
much
been
fun.
there.
Space Mountain's number two, though.
I haven't
It's
been to that part, California
Oh,
Adventure.
tisk
oh
tisk.
yeah.
It's
I
fun,
Oh.
but it's
I
small though. Like it feels small, like
yeah,
like a.
it is. Yeah. I just went for the first time this year earlier in July.
Hmm.
So yeah, otherwise it always had just been to the Disneyland side.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Okay.
it's fun. And I'm right there with you, John. I do love, I think more than anything as I've gotten older, the thing that I appreciate about Disneyland is that historical side that Walt had an appreciation for things and it's incorporated into it.
Hmm.
Walt has an apartment in Disneyland,
Yeah, right
like
above
right
the fire station, right?
the fire station. Yeah, it's still
Yeah.
So
there.
cool. I've been in
Wow.
there. No, I
Oh yeah.
Wow.
haven't, but that would be cool if I
Oh,
did. Oh, I hear they have tours that you could do that, but I've never been in
yeah.
there, unfortunately. But you could look at it and point and be like, look, it's up there. All right. So,
Star
all
Trek.
right. Yeah, let's get into it. Here it comes. Oh man, yeah, this is big news.
This is huge news. It's very unexpected.
Yeah, this is what is going on in the world. Oh wait, wait, Melissa, you have a Secret Santa gift to open, don't you?
I do.
So sorry, let's just
Yes.
knock that out right now.
That was the most Seacrest moment there. You'll find out
Yes.
after the break.
After the break.
That's right.
Yes.
Oops.
So it says Secret Santa Melissa. That's me. And I'm guessing since it says 80s tees, it's a t-shirt.
Yeah, so I was her Secret Santa, but this one arrived a little late. The other half was all the licorice, which is have you tried the Huckleberry licorice yet?
Not yet.
Oh,
I'm
fudge.
saving that one. I
I'll
left
be
that one
your
at home.
Huckleberry.
But my brother-in-law was very excited when I showed him and my sister. He overlooked, but was looking over her shoulder at the camera. Anyway, he saw the blueberry pomegranate
Nice.
flavor, and he's like, "Are you bringing that to Colorado?" And I was like, "I can, I can." Oh my gosh, this is
I
awesome!
think it's not awesome, it's outrageous, I think, right?
It's truly outrageous.
Oh my God, yes.
Ah, that's
That's
amazing.
amazing. Oh my
Look at that.
Hang
gosh.
on, I'm gonna spotlight you for a second if that's okay.
She keeps disappearing
Okay.
because the shirt's blue.
Yeah.
Well, it
Wait, hang
shouldn't.
on. Where's the spotlight button? Why can't there it is.
Truly, truly
Oh.
amazing. Oh, wait,
Freaking
it
gem in the
keeps going.
holograms.
It's the
There it
Yes,
is.
hologram
just like
keeps
that. You're
going
fine.
in and out
You're fine like that. We can totally see it.
because they're holograms. Oh my gosh, it's so awesome! Yes!
Glad you're part of that
That's
show.
cool.
I
Yeah.
love this. This is great. I can't wait to wear it. I'll
I
put it
just
on over my Star Trek and Chill shirt. Bozeman Phoenixes. That's
All
so
right.
awesome.
Cool. Glad you enjoyed it. And John and I just enjoyed an inside joke that I wish we could share with everybody, but we could not. But it was a good one, right, John?
It was a great one. It was a
That's
good
so
one.
rude.
I know. I
It's
wish we
so
could.
rude.
I know.
You could really.
In the news from Facebook.com, Star Trek and Paramount Plus post on Facebook casting alert. Thomas Jane and as Leonard Bones McCoy and Kai Murakami as Hikaru Sulu will appear in the final episode of Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 5. Wait, what? Whoa.
Yep.
How? Why were we not expecting this, John Orchiola?
Well, yeah, there's a lot to break down here. Okay, so first of all, Thomas Jane is a very well-known actor, probably best known for playing the Punisher in the 2004 Marvel movie, The Punisher, which, by the way, also co-stars Rebecca Romijn. So we don't know if they're going to actually share a scene together in Strange New Worlds, but yeah, but there's already a Star Trek connection between them, and maybe Rebecca Romijn was a factor in why Thomas Jane got cast. After all, she knows him. And Kai Murakami, this is going to be his TV debut. He's a Royal Shakespeare Company actor. He's done voiceovers for Assassin's Creed video games, but this is the first time I think he's going to play like a major role in a
Yeah,
major TV series.
this is big
But yeah, this was
news.
totally unexpected. Nobody really saw this one coming. Paramount kind of sent it out early this morning, or for me, late last night, and I had to hop on and write the article really quick. So they're kind of positioning this as a Christmas surprise for all fans. But why is it happening now is actually the big question, because
This is actually the giant question for me, and I think a lot of people, because season 5 presumably is going to be what
2027,
next,
2027 most
27
likely.
spring or summer, right? So we're
Yeah.
18 months out.
So
What does that
So
even mean?
yeah, so why tell us now that they're going to be there? I mean, I was thinking maybe possibly they were spotted in Toronto, and this is kind of like like a putting out a fire because somebody famous was seen on the Star Trek set, maybe, or um, this could also be kind of like because Strange New Worlds just wrapped last week, and there was all this press and all this social media about them wrapping. Maybe this was like a little extra thing to kind of get everybody excited about. Kind of weird thing, right? To get everybody excited about the end of the series that's not coming for 18 months.
It's not
Um,
even the next season
no, it's
coming
not even the
up.
next season. It's not even the next season, right? It's literally the 16th episode of the next 16 episodes.
So I don't know, Matt, what do you think? Because I have my thoughts on it, I think. I think I have a thought.
Well,
Well,
in
let's hear
some
it.
ways, like my first thought is this kind of the same thing that they were trying to do with pushing season 5 out the door so fast, right? Like I don't know if this is just to like try to keep the interest going because it's going to be a little bit before we see season 4. Um, and then they want people to anticipate season 5, you're trying, because I find that Hollywood does this a lot. It's like, oh, we gotta do something to keep the interest going because we know it's going to be a while before people see the next iteration of this. Is this like maybe there are some changes that are happening and they're just trying to put this out there before those changes happen that may make it more difficult later down the road for announcements like this to happen? I don't know.
There are actually also a couple of interesting points to Bones joining Strange New Worlds. So it is only going to be in that final episode, and it presumably will kind of be part of what I'm assuming will be the end of the series, which is that Captain Pike hands over the Enterprise to Captain Kirk. And then we see Captain Kirk kind of launch his 5-year mission. But what's interesting about this also is to put Bones on the Enterprise at that point, unless this is going to be like a flash forward scene to a little bit later on in that continuity, is that if we remember the second pilot of the original series, where No Man Has Gone Before, Bones McCoy is not chief medical officer in that episode. It's actually Dr. Mark Piper. And then Bones
Hmm.
comes later after they rejiggered the show a little bit after that pilot was shot. So what does that mean? Like, are they going to just kind of rewrite canon, ignore Mark Piper, and just say Bones was there all along? He's the chief medical officer. Like it's interesting because Strange New World is not above rewriting canon. They've done it before.
Right.
So
Yes.
and
Give us
in some ways that's
examples.
yeah.
Coming.
Well, the Gorn in season 3. Had Jenny seen this yet? No, she hasn't. But Jenny, I hope you're not watching. The Gorn in season 3 is a big kind of rewrite of canon. In Melissa Ortega, and Erica Ortega's Melissa Napia's episode 9, with the special appearance of another famous space god from the original series, who it was basically like, hey, this is our first time meeting. I wanted to see you get together with the Gorn, but you won't remember this. You won't remember this because in 5 years somebody else is going to
Right.
meet the Gorn.
Yeah, yeah.
So
That's true. Okay. Okay.
yeah.
So there's got to be I feel like there's a strong reason for this announcement now. I don't
Hmm.
feel like it's a Christmas present because then they could just make an announcement about season 4.
Yeah.
Right.
And why would they kind of give out a spoiler 18 months out
Yeah.
to like
Well,
there's got to be something more to this.
Maybe
this leads me to my
somebody.
second thought, which actually I wrote an article about, which was going to publish on
Ooh.
Christmas Day, but I'll just leak it now.
Oh,
My
oh.
second thought, about this was, okay, Thomas. I mean, this is just a. This sounds like just a cameo, right? Look, it's Bones. Look, it's Sulu, just to kind of complete the set, right? As you kind of end the series and start the original series. But why would you, if that's the case, if it's just a cameo or a walk on, why would you cast somebody as famous as Thomas Jane, who's a very very big name, if he's just going to walk on in a uniform and wave to the camera and say, "Hey, I'm here to complete the Trinity." So I'm thinking, if you're going to hire somebody like that, what does that mean? And as we
Right.
know, because they talk about this a lot when promoting season three, that there was hopes of spinning off Strange New Worlds into what's called Star Trek Year One, which was
Right.
Kiva Goldsman, Henry Orlando Meyer's hopes for a Captain Kirk series about his first year commanding the Enterprise. So I'm like, well, if you're going to cast somebody like Thomas Jane to play Bones, is that a hint that maybe like there's more to this spinoff than it just being like a fanciful idea? Like it seems like okay, we're putting somebody in place so that if this thing happens, we've got a really really great actor to complement Ethan Peck and to complement Paul Wesley and to complete that trio. So maybe this is kind of a nod towards, hey, this thing could be there could be more smoke to this fire than just than what we thought. So, but
Okay.
it all depends, right? I mean, they could be striking down the sets of the Enterprise as we speak in Toronto. So I don't know, but that
Well,
was also
see,
my thought. Like,
I think that's kind of half the answer that I'm thinking of, because I agree that why cast somebody that's pretty known and that's got some star power unless you're planning on going forward with this person more than just a scene or two or three, right? But then the question remains, why announce it now rather
right,
than just have that ace in the hole? And I would guess, and this is just, I'm sure within 5 minutes I'll have a different guess. But my first thought is, well, that was the plan, right? Kind of like Strange New
mhm,
Worlds was kind of the plan. Like I think they maybe led us to believe that it wasn't the plan and that the fans convinced them from Discovery. People were like, "We need Pike, we want Pike," but maybe and theoretically it was always the plan. They were planning on doing the spinoff, and the
right,
fans didn't disappoint. They clamored for more Pike, and they're like, "Oh, okay, we'll do it." But really, that was the plan. So this is the plan, or at least the hope. And Akiva himself has hinted about this. They've all hinted and practically flat out said that this is what they're trying to do. So now enter the merger, right?
mhm,
So maybe now they're like, we've got this plan, but we're unsure if it's actually going to happen with the certainty of that we thought it would, because back then they had the certainty because they're the ones making the decisions. Well, what if they're not 100% making the decisions? Maybe they're thinking, drum up enough excitement right now while this whole thing is in flux to kind
right,
of force the hand of the new people in charge and the new torchbearers for them to say, okay, let's green light this show. Now, I don't know all the machinations of what's going on in the merger. I don't really know any of it, but that's the only thing I can think of that would actually explain why are they making this announcement 18 months early,
right.
unless it's like kind of a desperation move. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean like they're like, dude, we want to make sure that this show happens, and we are now we're now at a crossroads where it may or may not happen with this new thing. So I don't know. What do you guys think of that?
I think it also does feed into what Matt said earlier as well. Is like because there are going to be so many changes happening in the next 2 years, they're trying to get ahead of it now because announcing Thomas Jane as Bones 16 months from now might not have the same impact because there's going to be other things happening. Hey, we have new Star Trek movie news, we have announcements of this and that, and so this could get lost in the shuffle. So putting it ahead now, to weave back to what you just said, actually helps build momentum towards maybe this show can actually happen if the fans get behind it.
Yeah, I mean, because like Ryan had mentioned, I mean, when we saw the Enterprise in Discovery, and I mean, those sets were so like, oh my gosh, it's that, it's I want to say the iconic bridge, but it was to an extent, right? It had that familiar feel to it, and all of a sudden, people were very excited about the opportunity or the not opportunity, the possibility of seeing a series set on the Enterprise with Pike as the captain, and Rebecca Romaine coming in as Una Chin Riley and all that stuff, and they got the reaction that they wanted from it, and that just confirmed that they had made the right choice in greenlighting that series.
Totally, totally. But yeah, but it's very exciting. It's very cool to have Bones and Sulu finally kind of coming in, even if it's at the very, very end of the series, just to kind of have the complete crew of season one, minus Chekhov, who doesn't arrive till much later. Hey, maybe they'll show
Right.
Chekhov in Starfleet Academy anyway. Maybe they'll show him. I am here taking a
Somehow,
tour of
yeah.
the Enterprise. This is my summer break or something. And it's like, and they just find a way to get him on there too. He's like
Now,
18 years
play,
old.
playing devil's advocate,
Ooh,
it is not out of the realm of possibilities that they are only signed for that episode, because there's
true.
been a lot of things, a lot of movies, a lot of shows where you think that someone's going to be a big part of it, and you're like, oh my gosh, they're signing this big person. I can't believe it. That means they must be. And then all of a sudden they're either killed or they go away. Or, I mean, we just saw a movie a couple weeks ago where it had somebody who was a big name, and that person was gone within the first, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes of the movie. And we all just went, oh, I thought they were going to be a bigger part of this. So it could very well just be that they, and looking at people who might have a semblance of the original actors, they felt like these two were it, and they really are just there for the one episode.
Yeah. I also want to point out, by the way, that Thomas Jane is excellent casting. Like we all raved about Carl Urban and how amazing he was in the J.J. Abrams movie. Like he just
He was
nailed
pretty
the
good
essence.
though.
Yeah,
Like he's tough
yeah,
to
he was.
beat.
Yeah, he just nailed the essence of what DeForest Kelly kind of built with McCoy. But Thomas Jane is awesome. I mean, and when I saw him, I was like, yeah, like this, like he would work really well. I mean, he's been in such great films. He's been in Boogie Nights, The Thin Red Line. He was also in some bad films, but he's also
I've
funny.
never seen him, I don't think. I mean, I guess I've seen Boogie Nights, but I don't remember what
Yeah,
he
and
did.
he's also funny. He had a very small role in Arrested Development where he played a homeless guy, and like he and Portia de Rossi's character kind of like had a thing, and so he can do comedy. So he has that side to him too. Plus, he looks the part. Like he looks like Bones. Like this was a really really clever and well done casting. So props to whoever picked Thomas Jane.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely.
But yeah, Carl Urban is tough to beat. He's the gold standard.
He
Hmm.
really is. He sounds like him too.
No, he really nailed it. I was always
Yeah.
wondering though that I would not put it past Strange New Worlds to meet Chekhov. Just just some, it doesn't have to be a big name actor, but it's just someone that they meet, that's at the academy, or just some cadet that they bump into on another ship or something like that. And they go, smart kid. We're going to watch your career closely. Or, like a little tee-hee
like
wink to
Emperor
the
Palpatine.
audience. Yeah, exactly. I will watch your career with great interest, or whatever he says, something like that.
Well, Aurora's first year on the Enterprise was as a cadet, where she was like getting
Hmm.
experience. They could easily put Chekhov on the ship again and be under the same program.
Totally. And then just transfer out for season one and then come back. I'm saying from the original series. Or some people say he was there the whole time because Khan knew
Right.
him. So he
Yeah.
could
Like,
very well be there
wasn't it
for
wasn't it Walter who said that when Khan took over the ship, Chekhov was there, but he was locked in the boiler room and he couldn't get out.
yeah, just because he wasn't on the bridge doesn't mean he wasn't on the ship.
Right, exactly.
So maybe he just wasn't a bridge officer for that first season, but he was still around. All right. Melissa, you don't have any thoughts on this?
Oh, yeah, you said it all already, so cool.
All
What do you think
right.
about Thomas Jane? Have you seen him and stuff?
Although, hmm,
Have you seen Thomas Jane and stuff? Like, what do you think of him as an actor?
he's fine. I've seen him and stuff. I mean, yeah, he's not somebody I get excited about necessarily. And no offense to Thomas Jane's fans, but I've seen him and stuff, and yeah, he's okay. Yeah, I'm just, I get where they're kind of coming from, announcing Sulu and Bones now, because they do kind of want to put that excitement out there so that Skydance will pick up year one. And so I get that. I'm just, I don't know. It feels like, I don't know. I'm going to be negative Nancy a little bit, and I don't like being
Perfect.
negative Nancy, but
We were way too positive. We need a negative Nancy going on right now.
well, I don't know. I'm just, it feels like they're trying to reinvent the wheel again, and it feels like they keep coming back and treading the same stuff that we've done over and over and over again. And I'm sorry, but I want to see something new. I want to see new stories. And I don't want to see the trifecta again, because we saw that before, and we saw all of the attention that Bones and Kirk and Spock got
Their
Bones
ship
and
name.
skirt.
during the original series. I mean, they got a lot of focus on those three characters, a lot of more character development than any of these other characters that we wanted to see more story from. I want to hear more story from Uhura. I want to hear more story about Una. And I want to hear more stories about the characters that we didn't get those stories from. So if we are going to retread this storyline again, why not come at it from a different perspective instead of from the perspective that we've already seen many, 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 many times?
What makes you think that they are going to go about it the same way as 60 years ago?
Because Kirk is the main focus. Again, Kirk is the main focus. Paul Wesley is the main focus going into year one. And you have Spock,
How do
who
we know
is the
this?
main.
He's certainly not the main he's like maybe number 10 in Strange New Worlds,
Yeah,
right?
but he's going to
The
be the
show would be
main
about him.
focus of the of the
Right.
last episode. And if he takes command of the Enterprise for year one, why wouldn't he be the focus?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Richard's Final Frontier says we need a La'an series. That's cool. Well,
That'd be cool.
this is my thing, and I think I disagree with you, Melissa, because I
Sure.
think that it won't be about the trifecta. Because look at the J.J. Abrams movies. It was a different trifecta. It was Kirk, Spock, and Uhura were kind of
That's
the
true.
main characters. Strange New Worlds, um, they definitely like them some Spock. I think Spock might get the most airtime
I
of
agree.
the all the characters, I think. Um, but who's to say that it won't be about, Kirk, Spock, and Uhura again? I'm sure that
Yeah,
they know that we don't really need just a whole bunch of dude bros over and over again, like in the 60s. Like we can handle more than just dudes. So I think that they'll be a lot more cognizant of that. I don't, there's nothing that tells me that they would be cognizant of that, but
Well,
I
I
could be
maybe,
would
wrong.
say,
maybe.
but just kind of piggyback on what Melissa, I think, to what she's saying is that, um, I think somebody over there has decided that the original series is the most popular series, and that's why we keep going back to this time era, right? Which that's totally cool if you want to go to that time point, right? In the Star Trek, so the history of Star Trek, right? But it would be nice to see different perspectives, different ships, different crews like we used to get, than retreading characters that we've already seen. Now, I think it's fantastic to see different adventures because obviously, I mean, one of my complaints has always been that there are so many stories that you could tell that happen in between the episodes, in between the movies, and some of those we see in novels and things like that. But what I guess my gosh, this just sounds like I'm gatekeeping and I'm not. But
Do
my
it.
but my thing is it's like they go in and they change things and and I guess the gatekeeping part of me feels like Star Trek is like a historical
Mm.
drama in a way, right? It has a history. And I feel like these guys who I do believe enjoy Star Trek, maybe even possibly love Star Trek, and so they want an opportunity to play in that sandbox and play in the sandbox with the figurines of their favorite characters of Spock and Kirk and McCoy and everything, and they're telling different stories. But in the process of doing that, they're forgetting that there are certain things that for so many years we as the audience have known about these characters, and they're like, okay, that's good, but I see it this way, and so it's their own spin on these characters, and everybody's going, whoa, wait, what the heck? And then we have all this divisiveness amongst the fans, which I mean, it has that's good and it's bad, but I just think that if you want to play in the Star Trek sandbox,
You
enjoy
got to learn the
Kirk's.
rules first.
Exactly, exactly, exactly. You got to learn the rules, and and it's okay to tell stories within those bounds of it. And if you don't want to, create your own crew, create your new a new ship, and go in and tell stories during that time period.
Hmm.
That it has that same aesthetic, it has that same feel that you
Well,
loved.
yeah, and then you can bring in these characters that we've loved in peripheral ways, not necessarily focusing on the same people over and over again. And I do think that they're trying to focus on Kirk and Spock. Not that I mind them focusing on Spock because I think he's I think they did an outstanding job casting Ethan Peck as Spock. I think he's a fantastic Spock, and I wouldn't mind seeing more of his Spock. However, however, again, it feels like they're taking the easy way out and saying, okay, we know that this guy's popular and he is popular, but so we're just gonna make more stories for this guy who is popular without focusing on anyone else or giving anyone else a chance to be as popular or as well received as somebody new, like Data. Who knew that Data was going to be as well received as he was? Who knew that?
Or the Voyager Doctor.
Yeah,
Exactly, exactly.
Hmm.
Who knew that these characters were going to be so beloved unless they were created, yeah. And if we're not willing to take a risk and discover that Star Trek is about discovering and exploring, and how can we explore the strange new worlds and seek out new life and new civilizations if we're retreading the same stories over and over and over again?
same
That
characters.
belies
Yeah,
what Star Trek is
Well, what
about.
if it was different stories, but just the same characters? They don't
Well,
have to do the same stories. But allow me to be wishy-washy for a minute, because I know John's got some thoughts. So originally, I was I felt the same thing you guys felt, but even more so. Like I was like when the J.J. Abrams movies came out, I was like, wait, what? They're doing
hmm,
original Kirk and Spock? We've already seen that. It still exists. I can watch it right now. Why do I want to see new kids playing the same fucking character? I already know the story of Kirk and Spock, or so I thought, right? So, and then when we were doing Strange New Worlds, I was like, okay, I guess that's kind of cool. You know, Pike, we like that. That's cool. But then when I saw where it started to go, you know, at the end of season one, when they introduced, who did they introduce? Scotty, was it? No,
no,
it
it was
Season
was
two,
Kirk.
Kirk in season one, Scotty in
Kirk. That's who
season
it
two.
was. Yeah. they introduced
Yeah.
Kirk at the end of season 1. I was like, oh, I see where they're going with this. They're going to eventually do a spin-off with all the characters in Kirk, and it's gonna, you can kind of see where they're headed probably. And I was like, dude, we have the original series, we have the animated series, we have the J.J. Abrams stuff. Like, can we just get a new ship with a new crew and new characters and new actors, and we'll love it. We'll eat it up. The first episode will be like new characters. Yum, 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 yum. I want them all. But, and I think I mentioned it on one of these shows recently. However, I've recently become curious and actually in favor of this year one show because I've become attached to the actors. I've become attached to the way these actors portray these characters, and I want to see Ethan Peck continue on. Ethan Peck's Spock continue on. I want to see more of Mbenga. I want to see more Scotty,
Yeah.
and so with that, I want to see more that now 16 episodes from now, I might be like, nah, I'm good. I'm full. I want something new again. You know what I mean? But right now, it's only been 30 episodes in. I'm like, I don't want their stories to be over in 16 episodes. I've become addicted to these characters. I want to see more of them, even if it's kind of,
Yeah,
in that.
no, but I agree with you in that on that front. I agree that I want to see more of this particular crew's story, but this particular crew's story. I'm not ready to move on from this crew yet because I do enjoy these characters. I do enjoy these actors. I do enjoy this show. And I don't feel, and granted, we've only seen seasons of it, but how much more are we going to get out of it in only 16 episodes? It feels like this crew, this cast, because what's going to happen to La'an? What's going to happen to Una? What's going to happen to Mbenga? I mean, we don't necessarily see them when we move on to year one of Kirk's Enterprise. It's not necessarily a guarantee that we will see this crew again. And I would like to focus on this crew and their stories more than moving on to stories again that we've seen already.
Well, and here's another devil's advocate kind of approach to this is Strange New Worlds works because they've assembled a crew, a cast of people who just work, right? And so if we move on to year one and that, we lose certain people, we lose La'an, we lose Una, I don't know if we're going to see Pelia, who's been a great addition to Strange New Worlds. So who's to say that it just makes me think of like when there are rare instances in which you've had a show that then spins off, like for example Frasier worked right from Cheers, but
Mm-hmm.
then you had Friends, which was a great ensemble cast, and then you had Joey that they tried to
Mm-hmm.
do a show on his own and surround him with different people, and that didn't work. So I don't know. Maybe there's maybe these stories work because of the people who are playing the characters right now, but that's going to change if they shift the dynamic and we no longer have Pike as the captain, we no longer have Una, we no longer have La'an and so on, you know what I mean? So,
We don't know that though, do we?
But
in year one,
Yeah, we don't know. I mean, I assume it too, but we
well,
don't know if they're going to be gone. We just know that they're gone by the time the original series starts.
sure, sure.
Well, what do you think, John? You know more about this than the rest of us, and you've been extremely polite while we rant.
John's like, oh, young fools, only now at the
No,
end do
no,
you
He's
we
like,
don't.
but
We
I
don't
can't tell
know.
you guys what I know.
No, well, we don't know the fate of the original characters that were created for Strange New Worlds, like La'an, like Ortegas. We don't know what's going to happen to them. Presumably, presumably to set everything for the original series, those characters have to go. Bones and Sulu come in, and we get the Enterprise as we remember it from the original series onward. But it's true, like even if they're not serving on the ship, you could guest star La'an if she's, you could guest star Ortegas, you could guest star Una. Maybe they have their own ship. Maybe it becomes a combination show of about two ships.
Maybe La'an and
you could
Una leave in the final episode of year one. Maybe
Yeah.
they're there maybe they're regulars throughout the whole show.
Right. We don't really know how they're gonna go about it. To kind of bring up Matt's point that he made a while back, about like what about the original series being so popular and somebody deciding that, we have to keep on holding on to these things. Kirk, Spock, and McCoy and their version of the Enterprise is kind of Star Trek's version of the Skywalkers in Star Wars. Like it's hard to, because they were the basis of everything that followed. And you could argue that Next Generation actually took it so much better. And you could even argue that for a generation, Next Generation is more popular than the original series. But they're not touching that for reboots. They're not touching those characters and trying to reimagine them. It's always going back to the original's 1960s crew. And now, because Star Trek 4 is canceled, there's like, okay, we don't have those guys anymore. So if we lose Kirk and Spock and now McCoy on the TV side, we don't have those characters at all, period.
And that's okay, though. They could rip the Band-Aid off and we'd be okay with that.
Years. But there's also like, well,
got to move forward.
What is Star Trek without having those characters? I don't know. I can also kind of look at the original series, especially as like Shakespeare in a way, because Star Trek is very, very play-like. It's very Shakespearean, and nobody ever says about Shakespeare. When William Shakespeare did it in the Globe back in the 15th century, they did it right, and none of those plays should ever be rebooted. None of those plays should ever be recast. None of those plays should ever be redone. So in a way, Star Trek is kind of like that, where you can kind of just not tell, I hate saying tell the same stories over again, but you can interpret these characters again and again. And they kind of proved it with Chris Pine, and they're proving it now with Ethan Peck and Paul Wesley, that you can kind of redo these characters and with different actors and different perspectives, and it works because fundamentally these stories and these characters and the show and everything it's about transcends across time, across generations, and you can tell new stories with them, and these characters work. So
it's
that's
also
kind of my
totally
thought
different. It's also a totally different story. It's like the JJ stuff is the same characters, but a completely different story.
Right.
Kind of like you can have the same name and have a different story. Kind of like for the last 10 years, a lot of people say that you have the same name of Star Trek, but it's a totally different story than the first 50 years of Star Trek. So, what's in a name? But we do have a poll. The question is, what new production do you want to see the most? Year one, President Archer, Legacy, or a new movie with a new crew? If we know our Star Trek audience, we know that Legacy is going to win this. However, we also know that it's going to win by a little bit less than it used to. And it seems like that, right? Because because there's a young buck that's coming up in the ranks. And 0% said year one. 9% said a new movie with a new crew. That's cool. 35% said, I want that young buck, President Archer. Oh, come on.
Got back to the Lowe's being called a young buck.
And 57% said Legacy. So Legacy's still hanging in there as the number one guy. All right. I think we can move on from that.
Yeah, I think so.
Here we go, because we're going to be talking about this like forever. The
For
point
the next
is
2 years?
new casting. Well, also because theoretically they would want to start production next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not that they
By the
would,
way-
but that's what they'd want.
By the way, we do have a new show. We do have a new crew. They're all coming out on January 15th. We have brand new characters.
Can you believe it?
Coming in.
That
So
was my
it's not
joke.
like-
Was maybe they're like,
it's like
Starfleet Academy is getting too much publicity. You were doing stuff too.
And the funny thing is, Star Trek fans always say this: I want a new crew, I want new stories, I want a new ship. And every time we get it with Discovery, with Lower Decks, with Prodigy, It's resistance. It's a wall of resistance.
Wow.
But I don't feel like there
I'm
was
not gonna
that
watch it
much resistance
to discover
after
either one.
well, for Discovery, yeah, but for Prodigy and Lower Decks, as soon as people actually sat down and watched it, because you know the naysayers are going to say, "I never watched this kind of this is not my Star Trek." But then they sat down and actually watched it. I mean, you can't deny that Prodigy is a fan freaking tastic show. It is
Yeah,
fan freaking tastic. It's some of the best Trek out there, in my
it might be
opinion.
the best of the
So
five
is
of the five
Lower
main shows.
Decks. Lower Decks is fantastic. It's fantastic storytelling, and so is Strange New Worlds. I think these new shows that have come out have been great, which is why I'm excited about not Section 31, um, Freudian slip,
What's Section
um,
31?
not, which is why I'm excited about Starfleet Academy, and I'm really excited to see what they're going to tell us and the stories that they're going to bring us, and yeah, and I trust some of the people that they've brought in to tell these stories as well. So I'm hoping, knock on wood, but I'm open.
John, you and Ryan have both seen, right? For your
I
review
have seen.
purposes, you've already
I
seen.
have seen. Yeah.
Oh, Starfleet Academy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's this. Well, here's what I think of it. If since you asked, uh, well, I'll tell you. Emotions are high as Star Trek Strange New Worlds says goodbye. This is an article from screenrant.com written by our good buddy John Orchiola. So, speaking of Strange New Worlds, since we're on that subject, this is big time, right? What was this, just yesterday or the day before they announced
No, it was over the weekend.
official
So
series wrap? This thing is done. Cry, 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 tear, 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 bittersweet, hooray, maybe hope for tomorrow. But they seem to be taking it pretty hard. It doesn't seem like most people are celebrating. Seems like most people are sad. Is that a good assessment, John?
yeah, I get that sense. I get the sense that these actors really enjoyed working together. They love this being part of the show. It changed their lives for the most
Oh
part for
yeah.
almost everybody on the show. They love the crew. They love just living in this world. And I'm sure they're sad. They're sad it's over. 5 years is a good run. I believe they started shooting in like 2020, 2021. So they did get 5 years. And so, yeah, I mean, it's a bummer. It's a bummer to kind of say goodbye to this version of Star Trek. Because we all do feel like we haven't gotten enough of it yet
No.
because we've only seen 3 seasons, and because they banked the next 2 seasons ahead of time. But even though they have banked 2 seasons, it's less than we normally get. It's much less than we normally get. So there is that feeling like we're still not going to get everything we want out of them. Although I'm sure they're going to throw in the whole kitchen sink into especially in the last season. I think they're going to try to go all balls out and do as much as they can because they have limited time. But yeah, I mean, it's sad. It's a bummer. I mean, for me personally, even though yes, we do have 16 episodes still to come, and I will hopefully be still talking to the actors and interviewing them and stuff over the course of the next 2 seasons that they promote it. It's a bummer. It's a bummer that the show is over in the sense that we're not going to get any more. Um, and for me personally, of all the shows and all the movies and all the actors I've gotten a chance to interact with, I have a very, very close affinity, a genuine love for these actors in this cast. This is probably the best cast I've ever seen assembled, and I've gotten the pleasure of interacting with in my career. They're all great, great people. They're all fantastic actors, so so talented, and
Even Martin Quinn? Come on.
And
What's
can I
funny is listening to them rip on Martin Quinn. Like Paul Wesley, like in Comic Con, told the meanest jokes about Martin Quinn during the interview that they did at Comic Con. It was really great.
And can I just add that I personally think my personal opinion is that this casting was spot on
Yes.
for every. I love Uhura. I love Una. I love La'an. La'an, I've said many, many times, I think is my favorite new character in Star Trek. And I just love the casting in this show. And yeah, I'm sad. Maybe I have sour grapes because I'm sad to see this show go way earlier than it should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ain't that the truth? So, but Starfleet Academy's already shot the first 2 seasons, is that right?
Season one
Mhm.
was wrapped a long time ago. Season two, I believe, is actually still filming or towards the end of filming
Wow.
because
I
they
mean,
have
they
10
are
episodes.
rushing this thing because they're just trying to shoot this thing because they don't know what's going to happen
They
next.
don't
So
know what's
let's
going to
just hurry
happen.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's
Yeah.
great
Yeah.
So they
because
want,
then that also buys them some time. They've got 2 years worth of Star Trek,
right.
basically. So
Right.
they're banking some. And I think that's
Yeah.
brilliant.
Well, and you
As
wonder
opposed to the
too. I
whole thing
mean,
just kind of going away for a while.
yeah. Well, and I mean, look, things are changing. I mean, the landscape of how we watch these shows is still changing. I mean, the streaming is here, but that's changing. We have studios that are changing and everything like that, and it's like, man, get it while you can because who knows? I mean,
Hmm.
we're losing Prodigy on Netflix at the end of this month, right? And then
Yep.
the only way that you
Yes.
can watch it is if you buy it digitally from one of many platforms that it's available on, or you buy the physical media of it and watch it on your Blu-ray player. You know what I mean? Like it's like
Yeah.
who's to say that something happens and suddenly we no longer have access to these shows on whatever streaming platform you're watching it on. So it's just like I don't know. I just man, I can't even imagine being I know speaking for myself as someone who works in post production how uncertain everything is right now.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Like I can only imagine people in the production offices who are actually like trying to get these things out the door and they're going, well, we want to do this, but I mean, who even knows that if tomorrow is going to be a thing for this show? So get it while you can.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Well, I just finished a rewatch of the second season of Prodigy because
Nice.
I know it's
Mhm.
going to be gone way too soon. And again, it had me in tears again after watching this show. It's such a phenomenal show, and it's getting swept under the rug. And for what? So that they just can do something different? Why not let us savor
Hmm.
things a little bit more instead of saying, okay, now let's pump out this, now let's pump out that, now let's do this, now let's do that, let's do more Flash, more Flash, more Flash. No, enough with the Flash already. We need substance. We need the frickin' substance. We need the fucking substance.
That
Sorry.
mountain air, man. Uh,
Yeah.
uh, but do you know that there have been more episodes of Prodigy than Strange New Worlds? So that's cool.
Yes, but not the same amount of hours. They're only
No.
25 minutes long.
Yeah. Um, well, that's good to know. But also, John, I got a question for
True.
you.
Uh-huh.
What, what are we allowed to say, if anything, about Starfleet Academy? Like,
Um,
are you allowed to say if you liked it? Are you allowed to say if you were surprised? Are you allowed to give vague opinions on it or just nothing?
probably. I haven't tested those waters yet. And I was thinking about doing it a little bit closer to the premiere. Just to be able to say, because I've done that in the past with other shows as well. And, no hammer
Right.
came
I
down on
remember a
me,
lot of
thankfully.
people during the Picard season 3, when before that came out, people were like,
Yeah. Yeah. And
I've seen the screeners
Paramount was
and
encouraging it.
it's
Paramount is
really
so Paramount
good. You're gonna
encourages Paramount would be happy to hear good feedback and good opinions on it, I think. For
All
now,
right,
Hmm.
then I'm gonna give
I'm
mine
just waiting.
unasked for. Here it comes.
Yeah.
Here it comes.
So, but I mean, what we're allowed to talk about is anything that was in the trailer, I
It
would
was
say.
pretty good.
Mhm.
And that's yeah,
I mean,
for
I have
It was
sure would
it was
never
it was
yeah.
pretty
ask if
good.
yeah, and that's kind of what I was kind of leading to is I would never ask you guys to reveal anything that would compromise your positions
Mhm.
of receiving and being able to review those things beforehand.
It was
But
pretty
I'm just
good.
curious because I trust both of your opinions in the Star Trek that you like and you
It's your
enjoy, and
funeral.
so
Okay, all right.
and so
I will say a couple things. I will say a couple things, just in opinion.
Oh, Matt pulled it out of him. He said, "I respect your opinion," and John's like, "All
No,
right, well then you're going to hear
that's
some
all I
more
needed to
of it."
hear. I was I'm very happy with the show. I'm very happy with the show.
good.
Told you it's
And I
pretty
see
good.
Ryan nodding. Yeah, and I will also say, without saying how many I've seen, one of those hours is
Oh, don't
it
you
felt.
you watch your
I'm not
mouth
saying
right
anything.
now,
I'm just saying
Jono.
one of those things
You mute this man. Somebody
all
find the
right.
mute button.
All I'm saying is all I'm saying is there's stuff in there that I thought was spectacular, and I would even go to say it's one of the best things in Star Trek I've seen in a long, long time.
Cool.
Wow.
All right. I
Ever
see that's what I
oh,
want is I want good stories. I want good Star Trek stories that make me enjoy, the aesthetic aside,
yeah.
I look, I'll be honest, I'm not a huge fan of the 32nd century designs. I really am
Yeah,
not. It
I
just
feel that.
it
The
doesn't
Matt.
I just I hey, that's no disrespect to the people who have worked on it and designed it and everything. It just doesn't work for me because Star Trek to me has always been a progression of technology that
Uh-oh.
makes sense, and then we get to the 32nd century and all of a sudden it's like we've got floating nacelles and things that I miss, like the personal transporters. I don't like the personal transporters that they're just popping in and out of everywhere because now we miss things, opportunities in storytelling. For example, in Star Trek 2, when they beam back uh from regular one, right? They have that whole scene where they're switching out their jackets and they're walking out and everything. We have
Yep,
this
yep.
great interaction, and we now that we have these personal transporters that were just here to there, we miss those moments, and that's just a personal preference of mine.
I
But
no,
I'm
I
looking,
I agree with you. I mean,
yeah,
with Discovery, one of the issues I had with the Spore drive wasn't the fact that, oh, this is technology they shouldn't have had in the, whatever. My problem with the Spore drive was instantaneous sleeping into the location that you're getting to means that you lose all the scenes that happen
Yes.
during the travel,
Yes. Yes.
yeah,
Yes. 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 Yes.
which
Bottle
is when you learn the
episodes.
characters,
You lose
which is
the
when you learn the
journey.
characters.
You lose
Yeah,
the journey.
you lose the
And
trek.
the journey is one of the most important parts of the story. You can't, yes, the instant arrival took a lot of that, the, the stuff that that took to get there.
Hmm.
yeah.
the the day to day, I missed the journey of the ship.
Totally.
Yeah,
Well, and
it's the
this is
trek
something
part
that
of Star Trek.
we've talked about in every episode, basically. I think we're all on the same page there, where it's like we want more episodes, we want more bottle episodes, we want to focus on the story. We're willing to sacrifice some extra whiz bang for more stories and or better writing. And we're not saying there's bad writing, just saying focus on all we care about is good stories and good
Yeah,
characters, and those two things go hand in hand. And if the
Hmm.
special effects have to suffer a little bit, or the explosions, or the episodes have to be 45 minutes instead of 55 minutes, or whatever it is, or less
Yeah.
space battles, sorry, Matt, less space battles, then we'll sacrifice it. However, Chaotic Truth Live says Starfleet Academy is definitely going to be the nail in the coffin, to be honest. How do you literally skip 700 years of storytelling to make a show based on the 31st century? Well, Chaotic Truth
Hmm.
Live, let me answer your question. Because a lot of people agree with what you're saying. I definitely get what you're saying. However, they're not skipping 700 years of storytelling. They're just telling their story here and leaving that 700 years for other shows.
Right.
They're going to be other shows in there theoretically. I mean, that's what Prodigy was, that's what Lower Decks was, that's what Picard was. That's, there's all kinds of stuff they can put in there. They're just in this little nook of time, kind of like in the Star Wars universe. Everybody's just looking at that timeline, like, where in the Star Wars timeline does this take place? That's kind of what Star Trek is. It's less about where now and more about when. This story
Mm-hmm.
takes place up here, so that way the the showrunners and the writers that write a story in the 27th century have free reign, basically. You can do whatever you want as long as it doesn't contradict what's happening 600 years later, but you can go anywhere and not worry about anything because there's no other series going on at that time.
Mm-hmm. Well, they could also do that by exploring the Lost Era with the
Hmm.
Monster Maroons, because
Yeah.
nobody's really explored that era yet. Not
Yep,
really. Not
I know.
really. And then you could still have some kind of cameos that pop in here and there and you know and cre add to the history of Star Trek than rather than trying to change it, if that makes
Robert
sense.
Picardo does great cameos, everybody. You can find him on cameo.com. Speaking of cameos, Bob Duncan says the groundskeeper is Gorn. No need for rakes, he says. That's pretty good. Okay. Any other things you wanted to say about Starfleet Academy? What do you think about Bob Picardo, Robert Picardo as the Doctor, John Orhila, or no comment for the next few weeks?
Picardo is great. He's great in the show, and
He's
there's a lot
magic.
of him, and you can tell he is absolutely having a ball.
Hmm.
I love that. No matter what you see Bob Picardo in, you can never accuse him of just phoning it in. He
Nope.
always brings his
He's a
Oh
A game.
champ,
yeah. Yeah.
superstar. Most charming man on television. Okay, but since we're talking about Starfleet Academy, this is very important. Here it is. This is from trekcore.com. Meet the cadets of Star Trek Starfleet Academy in video spotlights, plus behind the scenes peeks at production. So, what we have are the captain here and 6 cadets. Okay. Looks like this is a
Well,
new alien.
One
We
of
five,
don't
them's
know.
not a five
five
cadets.
cadets.
Who's this? Not a
She's
That
cadet?
is,
she's
apparently she is not a cadet. Apparently
she's
she
not
Okay.
a
is.
cadet. Yeah.
She's the
What's
president.
her
She's the
what's
daughter of
her
the president of Beta Z, and she is the love interest of Caleb Meir, who's Sandra Roth's character, who's kind of like the lead, the
so
rebellious
she's
young lead.
not in Starfleet Academy and
She
enrolled in
is not
Starfleet
enrolled
Academy?
in Starfleet Academy as a
She's just one
cadet,
of their
but she is part of
pals?
the show.
Mm-hmm.
She has a function on the show that we cannot reveal until you watch it.
Great. Okay, so it's only 5 cadets and a love interest that,
That's
does
why she's not
things.
wearing the uniform.
Yeah,
That's
but I
right.
wasn't sure if this was like, the new doctor's uniform or the new counselor's uniform, or the new engineer scrubs. You never know. Kind
Right.
of like how Marina Sirtis was not in a whatever. So, and
Until
hers is
Jellicoe came
unzipped.
along.
Hell yeah, that's the man right there. So we've got a new alien here.
Yep.
We've got
That,
what appears to be a Klingon, although I'm not sure anymore because
he is a
this is.
Klingon. He is a Klingon.
I know, I'm just joking because they changed the look of Klingons announcement. He looks to be human or human-ish. I don't see anything distinguishing him differently from. She's got the hidden Mickey ears.
And she's a
Um,
hologram.
He's a
okay,
hologram, right?
okay, so she's a hologram. This guy looks human-ish. Do we know anything about her?
She's Betazoid.
Okay,
Dinosaur.
Betazoid, interesting. And Holly Hunter, we know is half Lanthanite,
Lanthian.
right?
Lanthan.
So I still think she could be Carol Kane's daughter or Pelia's daughter. I still think that's possible. Now I hope that it doesn't end up being that, or it's going to look like I watched it and revealed that. So now I can't make predictions anymore. Anyway, do you guys have any favorites or anybody that looks interesting to you?
I think they're all really cool. I like them all. They are what we hope from Starfleet Academy cadets. They are the best of the best. They are very, very talented. They're very driven, but they're young. They make mistakes. They don't know everything. They screw up, and they're very, very good ensemble cast.
Right.
And in terms of the article in Trek Core, what this is a series of little 1 minute videos or 30-second videos on Instagram where you can kind of go in and meet each character. The actor introduces their character, and you find a little bit about them, and you see little clips of them in action to get a sense of who each one of them are in the show, which is a
Cool.
pretty smart marketing move. So that, you kind of get to know them a little bit ahead of time.
Yeah.
What about Matt and Melissa? Anybody look interesting to you?
I mean, they're little clips to give us an idea of who we might be dealing with, but um, yeah, I think it's too soon for those of us who haven't seen it to make a informed choice.
I do like, by the way, if you look at the poster, I like that their comm badges are the actual ship, the USS
Yeah.
Athena. It's the exact same
Yeah.
shape.
Interesting. My only concern is I I have a 21-year-old who lives in my house, and she's very much a teenager still, in some certain respects. And so I'm just so hoping that it's not like this summer I turn pretty kind of storytelling.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just so worried about that. And that's not to say I'm not going to give the show a chance, and I'm looking forward to seeing it because I don't know, it's exciting to see a new Star Trek series come out, and so
Yeah.
I, I, uh, I will say that the one thing this is so, I mean, I don't know, the one thing that I'm very curious to see what they do because they teased at this is that there's going to be some discussion about Cisco in
Mm-hmm.
this. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what happens there and what is said, if there's anything new revealed about it, or if that was just kind of a tease to kind of like pique the interests of the Deep Space Nine crowd to say, hey, come check us out, So, but I am very curious though to see Holly Hunter's performance as Captain Ake because I think that I like Holly Hunter. I just that short clip that we saw, I found her to be a commanding presence in that same vein that
I'll be
we
commanding presence in a day.
yeah, exactly that we've got from other power captains, from the Kirks and the Picards and the Ciscos and the Janeways, I just and
I
the
love
Pikes,
that picture, by
you
the
know.
way. That
So
that picture is
Yeah.
so amazing. Linda Anderegg in the live chat says, "I'm waiting for pics of Tatiana
Yeah, I was
Maslany." I'm
Yeah.
wondering when those were
I'm
going to come
so
out.
curious about her character, and I'm excited to see what she brings to the table too, because she's a fantastic actor as well. Like the casting
A lot of
of the
great
people that
BTS
I
there.
know that that I've seen their work, I'm very excited to see what they bring to the show.
Oh, speaking of very excited, this is something good. Check this suit, everybody. John's smiling. He knows. From ScreenRant.com,
Oh,
John Orkiola says the five biggest Star Trek news of 2025. What are they, John? This is it. This is
okay.
the big time. We're all going to
Well,
squabble so
well,
hard about this.
this was just looking back on the year, and from the movies and TV side. In the preamble, I talk about some other stuff like the Star Trek Con podcast, the IDW comics. So a lot of cool stuff did happen. The Lego USS Enterprise. A lot of cool stuff happened in 2025.
Right?
On the TV and movie side, it was a roller coaster, topsy turvy year because while we did get a new Star Trek movie for the first time in 9 years, and we did get Strange New World season three, which was the only Star Trek show that we had in 2025. Both of them kind of disappointed in some ways. Both of them kind of were divisive or rubbed some people the wrong way. So the way I broke it down was in terms of the five biggest things was number five, Section 31 disappointed. Again, it's the first Star Trek movie in 9 years, the first Star Trek streaming movie, the comeback of Michelle Yeoh to Star Trek. I don't think it made anybody happy. I think it's safe to say that movie did not please.
Excuse me?
It made
I
Jerry Schwent happy.
so
Who
that's
made it? Who made who happy?
there was one
Jerry
other person who
Schwent.
liked it. But yeah,
Uh,
it's hard to believe that was this year still.
yeah, that was
So
January.
item number one was perhaps Star Trek's first flop.
A movie flop? Yeah.
Real
Well, I
flop.
mean,
Yeah.
real, like 100% flop. Yeah.
Like in 60 years, yeah, I think that was the first one.
Yeah. That was
It's
the one
so
where like
mean
it's
to
very,
say,
very,
but
yeah,
you,
it's very hard to
It
find
was
the
a
redeeming
miss.
qualities for this one.
Yeah.
Um, Number four was maybe
Number
the biggest surprise of the
four.
year. Maybe the biggest surprise of the year, which came out of STLV in August, which was the fact that Michael Sussman and Scott Bakula have been collaborating on a comeback vehicle for Scott Bakula as President Archer, Star Trek United. An idea that I would say captured a lot of people's imaginations. He got them very, very excited. And as we found out more about it over the past few weeks, with Michael Sussman being very open about
Yeah.
revealing a lot of his plans, and then most recently, just this past week, dropping the names of all of Archer's children, their races, revealing Archer's wife, and revealing that he would like not just Todd Stashwick to return as Taylock, but
Yeah, that's
also
cool.
bring in a young 18-year-old Sarek on the show, and also bring in Admiral Strand, Starfleet Admiral Strand. Um,
That'd be so cool.
Pretty awesome. Now, it's also very important to point out that Star Trek United is not a real show. It is not a show in development at Paramount Plus, but it is something that we hope could be a show that becomes real at some point. And I think a lot of the momentum being built for it will hopefully kind of give it some favor with Paramount Skydance to consider it for a green light, hopefully, because it's very far along. There's a lot of cool stuff that has been built for this show.
All right, you've convinced me. That should be number one. What's number
It should
three?
be. Maybe it should be. Number three is the fact that Star Trek Strange New Worlds came in at season three and was not as well received as season one and two, especially after
Hmm.
waiting 2 years for it. The longest cliffhanger ever in Star Trek was what happened after the Gorn invaded Parnassus Beta and kidnapped a bunch of the crew and what Pike was going to do. We waited 2 full years for that show to come back. The season finale, I thought, the season premiere, I thought was very, very good. And I think everybody liked Trelane. Everybody liked Rhys Darby as Trelane coming in. And then, and the show was going pretty well until episode four, the Space Adventure Hour, the holodeck episode, which
Hmm.
was not as well received as I think they hoped. I think that was approached as a sure bet that everybody would love the way they loved the crossover, and it kind of wasn't. And then it kind of momentum against Strange New World season three, and grumblings kind of rose up from there, with people just kind of not being as happy with the genre and the comedy and the dancing, and how it was less about Star Trek and more about like experimental kind of genre bending. And then 4.5 Vulcans happened. And that was kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back with a lot of people, because there was a lot of feedback that was very negative towards that episode. I feel like they kind of closed off more strongly. The Ortega's episode was well received, but yeah, overall, Strange New World season three is not looked on as favorably as season two, and season one, which is kind of puts them in an interesting position as season four comes in next year.
Great. Interesting positions. What's number two?
Number two, Star Trek 4 was
Oh,
canceled. Completely canceled. Yeah, after nine plus years of development, Paramount Skydance said, no more. We're not going to do Chris Pine. We're not going to do Spock. We're not going to bring back that Enterprise. And we're going to do a completely unrelated movie from the creators of Dungeons and Dragons, Honor Among Thieves, which is a very, very good movie that everybody should
yeah.
watch on Paramount Plus because it's awesome. And they've done good stuff in the past too. They wrote Spider-Man Homecoming, they did Horrible Bosses, but they're going to do a Star Trek movie, presumably that has no relation to either of the previous Star Trek movies or the previous TV shows. So what does that
Hell
mean? What does
yeah.
that look
That sounds awesome. Uh,
like?
but also pretty cool that you brought up Star Trek 4 for us because we have to go every
Yes.
single week mentioning Star Trek 4. Is number one, could number one possibly be the big merger situation?
No, because I wanted this to be specifically about Star Trek. and not necessarily about Paramount
And what could
Skydance's
it?
overall thing.
Oh, what could it be? Hang on, let me think. Let me think. Strange New Worlds wrapping, year
Yeah,
one being a Okay,
yeah,
tell
no,
us
that was
about
it.
it.
Yeah, Strange.
Okay.
Number one is Star Trek: Strange New Worlds, season 5 being greenlit, being shot, and being wrapped in warp speed, where in less than 6 months it's all done, and the cast is now saying
Wow.
goodbye. And we've covered it on quite a bit in this hour, so we're not gonna delve too much more into it. But yeah, like literally like in the blink of an eye, the fifth and final season, we found out about it, then they started shooting it, and now it's over, and the year's not even over yet.
So here's a fun shot from Starfleet Academy. Great stuff, John Orkiel. Everybody could find his writing at screenrant.com. This is from facebook.com. The doctor is in. Look at
Mm.
him holding court. She's like, I like him. He's fun. She's like, oh God, I'm hungry. When's lunch? That's what they're thinking, probably. Who knows, though? And he's like, ah, lunch. I remember hearing when I first read about the word lunch. I've never had lunch myself, but okay, I don't really know if that's what he says or sounds like.
Has he never had lunch? Has he
I
never had
have been
lunch?
waiting for like 3 weeks for Ryan's doctor voice, and it did not disappoint.
Thank you. Oh. All right. But we have a little bit of time left, so we got to go back to Screen Rant. Wow, you've been busy.
I have been busy.
Scott Bakula's Star Trek comeback drops bombshell new and returning character reveals.
That was my face too. That was my face too on Sunday when I found out about this. So, Sci Fanatics, a really great podcast from Australia that I was on last month with Michael Sussman. They created a very, very cool opening credit sequence for Star Trek United, where they kind of built a whole thing showing the characters. But to do this, they actually had to find out who the characters were on the show, and Michael Sussman provided this info. So we find out who Archer's wife is. We find out the 4 kids, and there's whole character breakdowns about them in the video and in the article I wrote, which from the information in the video. So if you want to scroll down a little bit, you can find out about Archer's family.
Yeah, well, this video is 15 minutes, bro. So you just tell us. Okay, here it is.
Well, the
Well,
opening credits is
I'll
in the
read it
video.
out. Here it is. This is good stuff. Man, you got some good. This is all just this week.
Yeah.
Okay. Ilani, President Archer's wife and a Federation defense attorney. Ilani belongs to an unspecified alien race, possibly a new Star Trek species, and she is the mother of Archer's youngest child, Sabrin. If I know anything about Archer, that alien race is 8472 because he likes that booty too big. Camila Archer, in her early 30s, Camilla is Archer's eldest daughter and the twin of brother Gus Hernandez. Their mother is Captain Erica Hernandez, Ada Maris. From Star Trek Enterprise, idealistic Camilla returns to politics at Archer's request after stepping away to raise a child with her partner.
Oh,
Lieutenant Command.
some extra notes about this. Camilla was 6 years old when we saw Archer sign the Articles of the Confederation of the Federation at the end of Enterprise. So she was already born, and
Wow.
so that's
How
like
old
in
was her
20.
twin brother?
Oops.
Like
7 years younger somehow.
Lieutenant Commander Augustin Gus Hernandez, the twin brother to Camilla. Gus uses his mother's surname to create distance from their famous father. Lieutenant Commander Hernandez is a Starfleet officer who performs high-risk missions for the Federation. Sabrin Archer, 17 to 18 years old. Sabrin is half human and part of the first generation of human-alien hybrids. Sabrin is at the center of the Federation's moral and ethical conflict regarding the rights of human-alien hybrids. Ooh, that's fun. Tavar, President Archer's adopted Vulcan. Why? He's got like 4 kids, or is Sabrin not his kid?
No,
Sabrin.
4 kids. Four
Yeah.
kids. Sabrin's his kid.
Tavar, President Archer's adopted Vulcan son, who was orphaned and rescued from the Romulan War. Sounds like Worf. A Vulcan raised by humans, the adult Tavar became an analyst for Federation intelligence.
That's pretty
Pretty
cool,
cool.
right? That's a lot of info. And then he also reveals the three other characters that he wants in the show, the three legacy characters, who are Taylok, who's like the one of the main villains of the show, who's still operating behind the scenes in the Federation, with Todd Stashwick hopefully coming back if the show
Brilliant.
happens.
Yeah.
Todd Stashwick wants to do it. He already said so.
Yeah, Todd's
Um,
not going to say no thanks to that. He's going to say,
he loves
hell
to work.
yeah,
He
I want to
loves
do
groceries.
that.
He loves to pay his bills.
Don't we all?
But super exciting is the idea of 18-year-old Sarek, consular aide Sarek. So this is the beginning of his career in Federation politics, and he becomes friends with Archer's youngest child, who's the half human, half hybrid. And the whole idea of the seeds being planted of Sarek learning about humans, learning a hybrid, kind of foreshadowing the fact that he himself will be the father of a half human, half Vulcan, whose name I don't remember. Who was that character? And
Oh, I don't
then
know.
the third character is Admiral Shran. We find out that Shran joins Starfleet and becomes an admiral.
Amazing.
That's amazing stuff. I want to see the show.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's really cool. That's actually really exciting. And then we might all get our wish, especially Melissa, of like, that sounds like it's ripe for stories. Like they didn't say military commander or warrior or anything like that. They said politics, diplomacy.
Yeah, political thriller, and family drama.
Which brings us stories from a different perspective. Even though we're looking at some characters that we've visited before, it's coming from a different perspective, which is always exciting.
And I love the idea of hybrids being the theme of this thing because, Trip and T'Pol's child, Elizabeth, was a hybrid that was kind of grown without their knowledge, and then she died. And so the idea that technology was developed so that aliens and humans could actually have children. But what does that mean in terms of their rights?
Right.
What does that mean in terms of them being Federation citizens and like the xenophobia that they meet? Because Archer's youngest child faces a lot of xenophobia on Earth because she's a hybrid. And like so it's kind of like the Federation growing and like trying to live up to their own ideals because of the fact that now species are intermingling and having children.
And it brings up a conversation that's been established from the beginning of Star Trek, in that Spock himself is a human Vulcan hybrid. He's a mix. So it just continues that trend and continues that conversation that doesn't really get talked about often, even though it's present everywhere. Yes, this
that's a
video,
crazy scene.
if you play the sound.
Then YouTube will kill us.
Bit of juxtaposition there.
Yeah, there's something there. I'm not quite sure what, but I feel like there's something to it. This is adorable. Trying to teach DeForest how to properly do the Vulcan hand sign was a little hard.
Yeah, but look, the game continues. Look at his hand.
Yeah. Awesome. Good find, Melissa. That's in the Virtual TrekCon Facebook group, everybody. So go ahead and join that. Posted by Sherry Gerson. All right.
There's one more thing that I think people should see, and it's the Lego thing. It's the first Lego thing that I shared.
Yeah, I see it.
And
Here it is.
There's a little video in there that is super cute.
Okay. I see it.
Super cute.
Let's see. We could probably share the sound for this.
Yeah, because it's just music.
That's awesome.
I
I
hope they got
think
Jonathan.
it's so cute.
That's
I
on
hope they
that's
got
from
Frakes.
trekmovie.com that did
Yeah,
that one. Trekmovie.com. Thank you. That's good
I hope they got
stuff.
Frakes to do the giggle, to do Riker's giggle.
All right. We got to get out of here. Oh, we got to talk about
Yeah.
the week ahead. So yesterday on the Seventh Rule YouTube channel, we released our full review of Next Generation episode Lessons.
Mhm.
Lessons.
Lesson.
Lessons. Now, on Friday, this coming Friday, at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on the Virtual TrekCon YouTube channel. That's right. Come right back here for Star Trek and chill. We're going to be full. We're going to be smiley, maybe drunk, and we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to talk about Star Trek. We're going to be super chill. We're going to be buried in gifts and chocolate fudge, and you know how we do. That's this Friday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on the Virtual Trek on YouTube channel. Then on Sunday at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern Time on the Seventh Rule YouTube channel, we will release our first segment review of, I messed it up the first time. Just kidding. It's Second Chances. TNG episode Second Chances. You'll get it right every time. I don't know what that means, but you know the episode. And we have a very special guest, the dude that is revolutionizing toys, okay? Not just the toys that made us, not just investigates, not just the center seat, but the guy that's making Star Trek toys, nacelle toys, including a Nog figure, including all kinds of the best toys. This dude is a national treasure, and he's joining us to talk about Star Trek, if you can believe that. All right, John Orkiola, where can people find you online, please?
You can find me at Screen Rant and at Back of the Head. I am on vacation officially until January 5th, so I'm not writing anything more, but the stuff I have already pre-written will be published over the next couple of weeks. And
What about if something
also,
crazy drops?
I don't know. I don't know. I'll be on an island. I'll be in Boracay, so unless the
Aren't
news
all
hits
the
me,
Philippines islands?
yes, but I'm on a beach island.
Wow, nice. Have
And
fun.
yeah, but also I wanted to say that if you haven't gotten sick of me yet from this past hour and a half, I am on the Trek Recommendations podcast, and the new episode just dropped. And the reason why I think everyone who watches Virtual Trek Con and the Seventh Rule should see it because I recommended Virtual Trek Con and the Seventh Rule podcast for that I feel is essential viewing for every Star Trek fan. And I also shouted out the amazing community we have here in the live chat.
Beautiful. Thank you
So
so much, John
Merry
Orkiola of
Christmas and
Screen
Happy
Rant.
New Year, everybody.
You too. Enjoy that beach vacation. That's gonna be great. What about yourself, Matt?
Well, you can find me here on Tuesdays on the main viewer. You can check me out in the live chat on Fridays on Star Trek and Chill, and maybe even in the free for alls on some of the Seventh Rule episode reviews. You can also check out my 5 videos on YouTube. You can check out my Star Trek art on my ArtStation page, and then maybe occasionally making some comments on the Facebook groups.
Gorgeous. What about yourself, Melissa Longo?
You can find me at walkingartmadebymelissa.com and here on the YouTube with Virtual TrekCon, the main viewer, Star Trek and Chill, the Seventh Rule, Falling Tower, watch the first 3 Fat Lobsters, and please join up and sign up for my Zumba classes. Oh, and walkingartmadebymelissa.com on Instagram. The gram.
Hmm.
On the gram.
A lot of good things have gram. You know, like kilogram, grandma, graham
Graham
crackers.
crackers.
Cheesecake.
Hmm.
Mm.
You can find me online at Ryan TG Husk. Once again, that's at Ryan TG Husk, or just Virtual Trek Con, the Seventh Rule, or Falling Tower on your favorite social media, but especially right here on YouTube. And beyond that, MySpace. See you on MySpace. If you dare, you'll be able to do like 3 functions per hour. Are you bold enough to do it? Are you? We'll find out. We'll see you in MySpace, everybody. Thank you to John Davis, Dave Gregory, Bob Duncan, David Bourgeois, Lucia Raz. She says, I want a Nog figure. Well, I don't know. He was pretty ripped.
He was pretty
Uh,
ripped.
Chuck
Speaking
A,
from experience.
Sab Cobb DS, Herbert Turner, Linda Ander. Ooh, still giggling. I like it.
He had some whoppers.
Captain Caffeine, Red Shirt
Guns.
Bob, Rookie of the Year. On B and Budlums, everybody else. Thank you very much. John's like, just end the show. Just end the show. I gotta go. We'll see y'all very soon. Thank you very much for hanging out with us. Have a great rest of your week, and we will see you on Friday. And you know what? Hey, go party it up. Go do some stuff. Go hang out.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Drink
Oh,
some nog.
in
Drink
the
some
comments
nog.
below, I'm not touching that one. In the comments below, when this show ends, hit the refresh button. The comments section will drop down. Tell us rainy day, because we're going to have a lot of rain here for the next few days. Rainy
Lucky.
day. What's your favorite
I
board
miss
game
it.
to play on a rainy day? What's your favorite? Are you one of those Monopoly sadists that's like, let's play Monopoly, and then like 4 hours later they're like, can we just call it a tie? Or do you like chess? Are you like Cards Against Humanity? Or what's the thing? What's your good rainy day, Christmas day, whatever board game? When you want to talk about, no, I'm not going to say that one. When you want to talk about Strange New Worlds, put it on the main viewer.